Good evening, folks. We are back. It's Tuesday night, where I am, and we are continuing on. Earlier today, we updated our probes, and now we can basically remove these warehouses. We've already removed a lot of our what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I am looking for? We have removed our little scout cars, and what we can actually do now is, I'm pretty sure, have I got this on the blueprint? Have I got this on the level blueprint? No, apparently I haven't. Okay, so fundamentally it must be, okay, that's our rocket station. So we must have some sort of a blueprint that spawns all of our minerals. Here it is. So we actually no longer require this either. Okay, so we can basically delete that. And now we are beginning to take shape. So, what's the plan now, you may ask? Well, if you were watching earlier, or if you didn't get the chance to watch earlier, basically we redid the probes to be a bit smaller of a target area. And then what we did was we created the mineral zone, which then creates our mining constructor, and our mining constructor now goes and makes a mine. So with that in mind, we have an inventory button. Okay. And I think we need to start working on that. So in the short term, we can check actually gameplay here, because what we can do is we can go to our player controller. Okay, so if we go to our player controller, we can forget about that. We can go to here, right? Then we can check our products available, and then we can basically delete those. Okay. And fundamentally, to play the game now, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to do a probe, fire the probe, that's going to have to create our That creates our minerals, which will then send a ship or our mining constructor. Mining constructor will then come and build our thing. Then what we can do is we can build our conveyor belt. Okay. So we're going to disable that. Join that up. Okay. And in theory, we're going to have to hit 5. We've now got bauxite. Okay. So we're going to have to sell. Okay, and then we're going to have to check our controller to see how many space credits we have. Hey Jerome, were you around earlier? I'm asking for a very good reason. If you were around, welcome back by the way. So we're checking out our space credits. Controller. So we have 7 space credits. That's 8, 9, 10. And we're going to buy copper ore. Now, that's obviously going the wrong way. It's taking the money off copper ore, but it's not putting it back in here. So we shall need to check that. So we need to see, we've only got one product available, which means that it's not putting the copper ore in. Okay, so basically we need to fix this. Okay, so that is going to be, now we need to bear this in mind. We need to bear this in mind because we need to check it for zeros as well. Okay, so what we need to do is go to trading and then trading line, then the graph. Now we're going to have to look at our 2. There's the buy. And there's the sell. Okay. So what we need to do here is we need to add product to inventory, right? So this is the one that we're doing. Now what we need to do is, if the product does not exist in our inventory, then we're going to have to create it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a local variable and we're going to call it product exists. in inventory. I'll keep these as explanatory as possible for you guys, okay? And it's going to be a bool. So, in the first instance, when we come in here, okay, we're going to set this to false, okay? Then we're going to move this along a bit because we need to do a little bit more with this. So we're going to have to do this first. So we're going to have to look through this, right? And then we're going to have to check this item again. So we check the item. And we're going to be checking it here. And we are going to be breaking this struct. Okay. So we're going to be checking this item. Then we're going to be breaking that. And we'll straighten this reroute node. And we'll straighten, yeah, I knew it was going to be that one. So we straighten to there. Then we're going to branch here. Okay. Then we're going to zip that along a bit. Okay. So we're going to drag that in there. And then if it's true, we're going to break. Okay. And if it's true, then what we're going to do is break out of this and then go to complete. And on the completion, we're going to go here. Wait a minute. Then we're going to have to check this variable here. We get this. And this stuff here, I think I'm going to put this into a function. But we'll work out what we need to do first. So we'll say branch. So we're going to branch on whether whether it's already in the array or not, right? And basically, if it's true, we carry on to there. And if it's false, we do something else, okay? So, what we'll do is we shall continue with this. And we shall put a reroute node in here. Once we've completed this, it'll be a lot tidier, I would suspect. Right, so once we're complete, we basically go to here. So we're checking if it's in the array. If it is in the array, just add or do the calculation, right? If it's not in the array, excuse me, what we need to do is we need to add it to the array, right? So we need to get this again, and we need to copy it, and we'll stick it down here for, then we're going to add unique. Okay, then this is going to go in here, and then we're going to make the struct. There is in the works things like that. Okay. I do have a very nice tornado. I do have a very nice Martian tornado. I'll say that's as much as I'll say about it, okay? But that gives you a clue. And finally, once we have added, we actually want to go back and then do this. So my problem at the moment, Jerome, is I've added a lot of gameplay elements, right? And I need to concentrate on them because there's enough game elements in the game now to actually sustain the game. There's only one more that I want, which is, well, there's a couple I haven't worked on yet that are kind of already in there. So we have the construction, we have the conveyor belts, etc. Right, so we have the transporting of materials, we have the building of the buildings, the different buildings, we have the different buildings being able to do make different stuff, like factorial and satisfactory. We have the probes, which now are the way to find minerals. And we have research tree, we have workers, with the workers being subject to operations. We have the trading with the resupply ship, which is going to supply workers at a cost. So there's a lot of gameplay elements in there already. So I don't want to throw the kitchen sink at everything because you're never going to finish it if you do that. So I want to concentrate and start really nailing down the different elements, right? That's the plan. So this now should actually work. That when we actually buy stuff, it's actually going to add it to the list again. So as I was saying, now there is going to be another element to this, but the probe element is this, right? That you can basically fire probes down, right? And this is already a meteor shower if you watch, except we're not firing meteors, we're firing probes. Okay? So the point is that we're going to build this. And then we need to check what the FE controller says about our different, well, we've got none. Now I don't know why we've got none, but anyway, need to check that out, that's for sure. Right, so if we build the conveyor belts out here and then just build them into here, then that's going to give us product. And this is going to be the first part of the gameplay loop, right? Because you'll start off with basically enough to fire some probes. Then once you fire some probes, you need a warehouse to put them in, right? So you can have enough to fire probes and build a warehouse. And that's going to be basically the start, or that's the way I see it. As you can see, we've got copper ore. Now, I don't know why this has got something in it, but let's not worry about that. Right, so now we're going to have to trade with the ship. Right? So we're going to have to sell some of this. So we can sell, let's say 20, and then if we buy bauxite, alright, and that's not working very well. So what's this doing? Let's have a look. That's doing copper ore. Got bauxite. Well, we only bought one. For some reason that's adding copper ore. Or maybe it's not actually, right? Okay, we're gonna have to debug this and see what's going on. So this is add product to inventory. So basically if I hit the bauxite buy, that's not doing what we expect. Okay, that's not doing anything like we expect. Actually, you know what? This is sell. Right, right, okay. So if we buy something, we come in here and we add the product to the inventory. Okay. So this is buy. There we go. And if we step into I'm an idiot. If it's false, yeah, if it's false we do nothing. That's okay. If it is in the inventory we do that, so that's fine. Right, hang on a little second here. Yeah, that's right. Now this is weird. Let's have a look at this. We're going to try this again. Now we don't actually need to mine anything here, because we should have something. Okay, we have nothing. So let's do a little cheating. Let's do a little bit of developer cheating here. And we shall add some new thing. right? And we'll say we've got 20 of them, right? Because they're 10 a piece. Okay, so if we start with 10 of them, that will start us off that we can buy and sell. Okay. Right, we didn't want to maximize that. So if we look in our FE controller, actually we should be looking at the rocket in that case. But our rocket should have stuff now. And now we hit 5, which brings up our thing. So what we can do is we can sell that, and that's given us our space credits. And the really strange thing is this is coming up with something. It's setting up this array for some reason. Ah, yeah, that's okay. God, I'm not thinking straight. So we've got 50 space credits, right? And we want to buy some bauxite, let's say. So we're going to buy that, right? So we're going to step into here, right? And then we're going to break it at this point here and find out what the value of this is, right? So we'll resume that, and it doesn't exist. So basically we add it to our controller, so we should actually see this getting added to there, right? And there we go. Now there's our bauxite now, so it's added to the bauxite, which is correct. And now we do a loop, and let's add a breakpoint here, and if we resume here, the index should be 1. And our dog should not be making as much noise. But we've got bauxite quantity 1, okay, which is correct. So we resume that, and we can buy that again. And for some reason we've got new thing, and we've got another version of bauxite. So the second time around, it's not it doesn't think it exists. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. If it's true, I've got to set the local variable. What a muppet. What an absolute muppet. Okay, let's ignore my stupidity there, right? For a laugh. Right, so this variable here, we need to set it to true, okay? So if we do find it, we set it to true. try not to be such a muppet this time. Ah well, never mind. Mistakes happen. So we save that and we basically do it again. We don't need to wait on any particular thing happening apart from our rocket ship. See if we type in raw arrow, that gives us our rocket and our controller, so we can actually check on our supply. Right, so our box height is now set, so we can check this. So what we'll do is we can sell and resume. Right, I think we can start taking these off. Resume. Disable breakpoint. Resume. Disable breakpoint. Resume. So there's our 1. Remember, that's at 86, right? So that's a resume. Disable and resume. That's down to 85. Okay. So this is kind of awesome. Now, the thing is that we have minus 39 space credits. Okay, so that's obviously not a good thing. So we can't allow that to happen. So we're going to have to do a quick check on the price of a particular item. Okay. So if we're going to add the thing to just getting a bit silly there, but anyway, so what we'll do is we'll go back to our event graph, right? And before we actually, we can return the price, okay? And before we do this particular part, we need to check we've got enough space credits. Okay, so what we'll do is we shall move this across. Okay. Then we shall, oh, not that, we shall take this num here and if this is less than or equal to our space credits, then we basically allow it. Okay. So we can branch off that. So if we have the money to buy it, we're allowed to buy it. If we've not got the money to buy it, it just doesn't go through. We can make something happen later if we wish to make a big, like, noise effect that tells the player they haven't got the cash or something like that. But at the moment, all we want to do is make sure it doesn't allow you to do something that shouldn't be allowed, which in this case is sell your thing. Now, the other thing is if the quantity right, so what we'll do here is let's think about this. In this one we're returning the price, okay? Return the price. Now I think what we need is return the quantity. Right, but it's going to be return ship quantity and return inventory quantity. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get this, and this is going to be completely different actually. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go up here, return ship quantity, right? Return inventory quantity. Right, so we've got return ship quantity, right? And what we want is, have we not got the return inventory quantity? Apparently not. Okay, whatever. Right, so we'll copy this. And we're going to add a function, return inventory quantity. Okay, and we're going to bring in an E item. So call it product, but it's going to be of the type E item. Then we're going to paste our stuff in. Our product's going to go to here, but this is going to come from our controller and available products. Okay, and then we're going to click on that and we're going to have an output, and we're going to call it inventory quantity, and it's going to be an integer. And once we've got that, we just say true, save that. So we can go back to our event graph and on buy. So if we're buying, we return the ship quantity, and that's going to be E item. Right, and then we're going to have to say if this is greater than 0, then we're going to branch. Okay, So this is going to go in here. Why it did that, I don't know. But anyway, so we're going to drag this to here. Might need a bit more. And then this is going to go in here. Yeah, that'll do. So that button's not going to do anything if we have 0 in the ship and you're trying to buy. And then similarly, we're going to do exactly the same thing here. Right? Except, so we're going to duplicate these and pop them in. Right? And then we're going to return inventory quantity. Okay? And again, this is going to be the E item, so we'll just pop that in there. Pop that in there. This is going to go in here. This is going to go in here. And this in here, and this in here. Save that. Okay. So that's us basically for our little things. And that's checking if we've got the space credits. And if we're selling, it doesn't matter how many space credits we've got. So that's okay. That's cool. That should work. So on that, guys, I'm going to take a quick cigarette break. It's a good time to do it. That code should all work now. Now, as I said, we're just working on the functionality. So the things that happen when you do it, like it making a noise or whatever, yeah, that'd be nice to put in, but we're not going to do that for the moment. Plus the fact that I'm sharing my screen, so you guys wouldn't hear it anyway, unless of course my mic picked it up, but that's besides the point. So as I said, I'm going to take a 2-minute break and we shall be right back. Okay guys, we're back. Sorry about that. Anyway, Jerome, where's it you're from, mate? Are you in the States or what is it? So this is finished, right? That was a quick turnaround. Unreal Midas. Nice to meet you. How are you doing tonight? Or wherever you are, whatever time it is. Right, we're going to be OCD here and line these up to the black lines, okay? Right, there we go. Okay, so that should sort out our functionality problem as far as the buttons go on the resupply ship. So let's just test this and see how we go. That's a leading question of a name, Unreal Midas. So obviously that's Unreal Gold. Now, what have you done that earned you that title? That's the question. Now, maybe you have done something that... Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to sell, 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 and sell more. And then once we get to here, yeah, it shouldn't do anything. That's exactly what we wanted. And our FE controller should have 200 space credits. So our our problem was there was only 4 of them, right? But what we can do is we can sudo play the game now, right? We can launch our probes. Right? And then that's going to give us our mineral. It'll then send out our mining constructor. Okay. Which will then build a mine. Let's see if we can actually... We can't build anything at the moment. Well, that's another thing I did this afternoon, Jerome. I made a couple of limitations on what you could build and whether you could build something in hand as well. So we've got those 2 things ready to... Well, basically they're already in. So I can now do something with them now. So what we'll do is we shall make our conveyor belt. And let's join it to here. And you will see that our little conveyor... Now, I don't know why it does... You see how there's an extra barrel just sits there? I don't know why that is. We'll need to try and work that one out. But this should start making us money. Right, now, the thing is, right, we want to find out, that's bauxite, right? So basically what we want to do is we want to buy copper ore, right? Now, why is it not letting me buy copper ore? Okay. So add breakpoint. Right. And buy. Okay. That's what we want. Step over. We've got 52. So it's greater than 0. Step over, step over. Eh? What's happened there? For some reason, right, wait a minute. Right, that's the bizarrest thing. So if we, right, we've got minus 99, right? So it's obviously multiplying something or doing something weird. Right? So we're going to have to stop that for now and restart it. Right? And then we're going to have to buy, we're going to have to wait till our rocket has some stuff on it. Ah, wait a minute. Right, so we've got a quantity here, right? So what we need to do is we need to sell a couple of these, right? And that gives us our space credits. So if we click on here, you can see that we have 30 space credits. So if we click on ore and buy, now it didn't do this the first time. I'm just wondering at what point our space credits turns to minus, okay? So step over and the ship quantity equals 43, which is correct, this number here. Then we return the product price, and the product price is 1. Ah, what a goofball. This, it should be space credits minus this number here. Okay, that was a bit of a goofball mistake. Right, we shall press play again. And what we'll do is we shall launch our probes right here. Okay, that's going to build us our mine. And the next thing we need to do is build our conveyor belt. Build it there. We're going to tidy up all these little glitches at the end. Tidy that stuff up. But in the meantime, we can find out what we've got here, which is copper ore, which is fine. So now we can do that and we can sell our copper ore, but we want to see how much we're getting for this in space credits. So we can sell, we're getting, right, so our space credits are going up. We've got 20 space credits so far. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to buy and we think we found the problem, so yeah, it did. I'm hallucinating. So we're buying bauxite and our space credits is going down, which is exactly what we want. Okay. And that's, well, we've spent all our space credits, and now if I try to build, as you can see, I can now build a refiner. So we can basically do all the cool stuff that we want. Now, the interesting thing here is that, say we're happy with that, right? But we wanted to now add a splitter in. Well, the problem now is there's no way we can delete buildings and warehouses and miners, but we can't delete splines. Or can we, in fact? Let's try it. Right, we're going to delete our mine and it won't let us do it, right? Which is kind of fine. But, well, not very good. So, what we're going to do is we are going to go to our controller and on the left click it's not on the left click, right? So in actual fact what we need to do here is go to our spliner which isn't in the UI. Okay, so we need to go here, spliner, and if we look at any of the other buildings here, we can get the code quickly, right? For the hover and unhover. Okay. And that's not really what we want. Let's have a look at the refiner. And that is not what we want either. So we want it in the BP base building. So if we look at this, that's saying based on, right? That's not saying hovered. So this is the code here to set the custom depth, right? So we basically need this, except we're not going to use that, but we're going to base it on this. So let's say we go back to the spliner, right? And this is the spliner. Okay. So we drag in our spline, except we don't. We click on the spline and we select on begin cursor over, and then we select on end cursor over. Okay. Then we can paste our stuff. And we can delete one of these. And that gives us a selected object, of course. So let's sort that out. There we go. Now the next thing is, it's going to be the spline. Okay. And we shall plug that in there. Now when we hover over a spline, it should light up. Okay. So we are going to need to build this thing. So we'll do our probes and fire it down there. Okay. And we need to wait for this to be ready. Yep, ready. Okay. Okay. Now, there we have our hover over, but it's doing jack. So we need to check if it's actually doing anything. Okay. And the answer is no. No, 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 no. Okay. So is this some sort of weird thing set up in the mesh? Apparently not. Values. So we need them set in the top and not in the bottom. So they're set in the top and not in the bottom. Right? So this is an issue. Well, actually, it's an issue because of this. Right? And I'm guessing well, that's bizarre. So apparently, I mean, here's the right. Okay, okay. Here's the issue, guys. It's got begin cursor over and end cursor over. Okay. Neither of them are firing. Okay. But it doesn't have any collision. Okay. So explain that one to me. Let's have a look at collision. Fill collision underneath will not be generated on the surface of the geometry. Right, so that's no good to us. Okay, it's going to have to be a Google. Spline cursor over E4. Right, let's see what we get there. Right, so this is a bit of a weird one. So we need spline. Okay, hang on a second, right? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to check on the I'm going to check once this thing's built. So we fire our probes. Okay. And then we're going to type in spline there so that we can get spline back. Because it looks to me that we're adding spline components. And these are the things that have the collisions on it. Which makes sense, that's fine, makes sense. Okay. I'm not going to argue with that point. Okay. So we have our BP spliner, right? And it does not have collision. Okay, does not have collision. Obviously nothing on that, obviously nothing on that. Now this does have collision, but it's only for effective navigation. So fundamentally, let's see if it's in the blueprint at all. We drag in the blueprint, right? And set collision profile name. Right, so are we gonna have to set this on begin play? I'm assuming so. I think this is going to be pretty weird, because what I think is going to happen is, so this is going to be overlap all, but I don't think it's going to be, this is not going to be the right place to put it. What it's going to have to be is it's going to have to set at the end when I actually complete the spline. Otherwise, if this actually works, right, what we'll do is go back to Refiner, right, and if we do build mesh, and then we look at the, it's probably the wrong one to look at, platform mesh, that's probably the wrong thing to look at as well, but anyway, right, so if we look at the collision, right, it's got set to block all, there's no spaces, and I'm assuming that overlap all will be the same. Yep, no spaces, capital O, capital A. Right, so we basically have to try that again. Right, so we'll come across here, we'll come back to our warehouse, and we shall plonk it here. Okay. And hopefully this will work. We shall soon find out. Right, now, as I'm predicting that it's going to look a bit weird to start with, or maybe not. And it's still not firing those at all. Right? right? So if we look at the spliner, if we click on the spline, oh, it's not doing anything at the moment, but this is it here. So it's not firing these at all. So the only other answer was that when we start this, basically this just isn't going to be the thing here. This is just not going to be the thing. But we'll do it anyway. Enable mouse over events. Set it to true. Who knows, maybe it will. But that's setting, I mean basically that's setting on the controller, so I don't know what this has got to do with the spline. That's kind of beyond me at this point. Okay, so whatever, I suppose. Whatever works. This does not seem like the correct answer to me. Okay. We shall try this again. And it's still not working. Okay, so this seems to be a problem, because we can't set the selected item. Okay. Interesting. Interesting problem. If anybody in the chat has the answer, that would be great. How did you get it to overlap a spline? Right? I'm just wondering here if there's some weird thing where you can add like accept mouse event. Right, that doesn't seem to be the right thing, but actor ignore origin. So it doesn't seem to, the answer doesn't seem to be in here. Collision. Okay. So we'll stop that just now. So it's got those weird settings in it for, right, so auto activate, Let's set it to auto activate and see if that does anything for us, shall we? This is a weird one though, weird indeed. Okay, is there anything else here that kind of gives us let's have a look at the spline thing. Right, we'll leave that. Overrides. We don't have an awful lot here that we can actually change. I mean, I don't know what activate the splines does, to be honest. We need to check on that. Again, I don't think it's particularly relevant to what we're doing here. But we need to find out, I suppose. I think this is going to be a stream for another day on this one. Right. So build a conveyor, over our spline. And nothing. Zero, zilch, nothing. Nothing happening at all. Okay. Okay, we're going to have to leave that for now. I'm going to delete this out for now because it didn't do anything for us. The auto activate also didn't do anything for us, so I'll switch that off. Right, so we're back to the way we were. Jess, I'm glad you were able to make your enemy blueprint. The bit I'm not so glad about is the fact that you're up at 3:30 in the morning. It's all rather late. But yeah, well done. Right, I can't get these splines to highlight, so we're going to have to leave that. I'm going to try and fix that off screen or offline. I don't know what the problem is here. These two things are just not doing anything, not reacting to input. So what, you know what I'm going to do, right? Let's try one more thing, right? On clicked. Let's try an on clicked, right? Let's see what happens when we do an on clicked. I'm going to do print string, right? Now this is a weird one, so you're going to have to bear with me on this one. So we're going to call this 20, and we're going to say clicked on spline. So I am of the opinion that this is not going to work, right? Because if it's not firing the cursor over, then I wouldn't expect it to actually react to the the click either. So I'm not actually going to be surprised at either of these things. Yeah, Jess, you can show me tomorrow. We'll have a look over it, see how you've done. Good night, go to bed, it's late. Okay, so we're going to build our mine, and we're going to wait for it to build, and then we're going to put our conveyor belts down and try again. We're going to click on it to see if the spline actually does something. Good night. Right, so we are going to connect this. Okay. And as you can see, we're getting nothing. The clicking of the spline is doing absolutely jack. Okay. So that is a weird one. Okay, so we've got a problem. And I think on that note, guys, what I'll do is I'll finish off there. I want to have a look at this problem, and I want to get it solved by tonight. So the best way to do that is for me to troll the internet to find an answer, which doesn't make for very particularly great viewing. If you've enjoyed the stream, thank you, and check out the description, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I shall see you tomorrow afternoon at, well, 2 p.m. UK time, and after that 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And I'm going to be a bit more organised. I'm actually going to have two sets of things to do for 2 o'clock in the afternoon and then 8 o'clock at night, rather than have to search for things to do, right? So I hope you can join me then, and thanks for joining me tonight. So good night.